Ruth's and Dan's Grand Baltic Voyage, July 2nd, 2019 through July 16th, 2019. Part 1. Part 2. July 2nd at 6 o'clock p.m., waiting to board for London Heathrow at Denver International Airport. On Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019, we left Denver International Airport by British Airways at 7:35 p.m. Wednesday, July 3rd, 2019, we arrived in Copenhagen at 5:15 p.m. July 3rd at 11:30 a.m., arriving at Heathrow Airport, London. July 3rd at 5 o'clock p.m. on the bus to the hotel from Copenhagen Airport. July 3rd at 9 o'clock p.m. after hotel check-in and while getting dinner in Copenhagen. After 18 hours in transit, our first night in Copenhagen was at the Admiral Hotel. Dinner on our own was on the pier and a little late, but that seems to be normal for here. This was our breakfast buffet at the Admiral Hotel for both July 4th and July 5th. Our hotel here in Copenhagen, the Admiral Hotel, has an interesting history. It was built in 1887 as a granary warehouse and was converted to a hotel in 1978. The post and beam construction and stone walls are still very visible and make for a unique experience. This is a part of the reception area. Hot wave in Europe? Not here in Copenhagen. The restaurants along the pier near our hotel furnish customers blankets to keep them comfy while enjoying lunch. Now that's good service. Downtown Copenhagen in the rain. Getting around in Copenhagen. After exploring downtown Copenhagen, we had a typical Danish lunch on our own. The 17th century Danish ruler Christian IV felt that Copenhagen Castle was hopelessly old-fashioned, poor fellow, so he built a small summer castle in the Dutch Renaissance style as his pleasure retreat. The walk to the castle was a pleasant stroll through the palace park. One of the very popular sights to see in Copenhagen is Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid. It was so crowded on our visit it was difficult to see the little statue. I'm not sure how this translates into English, but it certainly caught my attention. One of our tours in Copenhagen was to Christiania, a unique self-ruling community located in the center of Copenhagen. It was started in the 1970s in an abandoned Danish military area and has an interesting and controversial history. The people in Christiania have developed their own set of rules. The rules forbid stealing, violence, guns, knives, bulletproof vests, hard drugs, and bikers' colors. Here is a mission statement published in 1971 in a magazine popular to young people of the time. Quote, "The objective of Christiania is to create a self-governing society whereby each and every individual holds themselves responsible over the well-being of the entire community. Our society is to be economically self-sustaining, and as such, our aspiration is to be steadfast in our conviction that psychological and physical destitution can be averted. Christiania is considered to be the fourth largest tourist attraction in Copenhagen. It is popular for its unique restaurants, colorful buildings, and display and participation of the arts." This giant troll in Christiania, Copenhagen, was made by the same Danish artist, Thomas Dambo, as the giant troll near Breckenridge, Colorado. Another colorful view of Copenhagen. It's 9:30 p.m. and we're leaving Copenhagen on the Clio, our home with 88 other passengers for most of the next 11 days. We had a cocktail reception with the captain followed by a 5-course welcome dinner. Yum! We're headed for Bornholm Island, Denmark. July 6th. We arrived at the port in Roan, Denmark, on Bornholm Island this morning at about 9 o'clock. It's still raining. After a nice breakfast, we boarded a bus to Svaneke, a small market town. Everything on this island seems so neat, tidy, and clean. The ideal life to the Dane called hygge is feeling cozy and pleasant, and this is the way everything feels here. Time for the umbrella again. July 6th. This was one of the highlights of Bornholm Island, the home of Bente Hammer's original handmade designer clothes from originally designed and hand-printed fabric. Expensive but beautiful. This ancient structure was used for defense from invaders during the Middle Ages. Presently, it's used as a Lutheran church. Off to Gdansk, Poland. Today we are in Poland. World War II was a very destructive war, and Gdansk, Poland, was one of the cities badly damaged by the senseless bombing. The rebuilding we saw today was amazing, but we were most impressed with the tour of the Solidarity Center, which helped us to realize the importance of the Polish resistance to the Soviet occupation and the breakdown of the Eastern European Soviet bloc. This movement preceded the fall of the Berlin Wall. The Solidarity Center is a museum and library in Gdansk, Poland, devoted to the history of solidarity, the Polish trade union and civil resistance movement, and other opposition movements of communist Eastern Europe. It opened on August 31st, 2014, on the anniversary of the 1980 signing of a treaty between the strikers and the authorities. This date stands for the beginning of the downfall of communism in Europe. Off to Gotland Island, Sweden. After a night of fairly rough sea, we arrived in the port at Visby, Sweden, on the Isle of Gotland, about 9 o'clock this morning. This picturesque cobblestone city, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is the best preserved medieval city in Scandinavia. 700 years ago, it was the largest city in Scandinavia, bigger than Copenhagen or Stockholm. Gotland is the home of the late great filmmaker Ingmar Bergman. The museum in Visby was interesting, with displays representing Gotland's history from its formation over 400 million years ago to Viking times and through the medieval period and more. Off to Riga, Latvia. July 9th. We arrived in Riga, Latvia at about 9:30 this morning, docking at the mouth of the Daugava River in the Gulf of Riga. July 9th. We are in Riga, Latvia today. Lots of street musicians. These guys played a short rendition of America for us, not in unison, but as a duet. Not bad. Here's a young trombonist playing a more modern piece in the square. Riga was a pleasant surprise, having survived 5 years of Nazi occupation and 10 years of Soviet occupation. They all speak 3 languages, Latvian, Russian, and English, and one of our guides also spoke good French, Italian, and German. This evening we dined with a young couple at their apartment who spoke with lots of confidence and optimism about the future of Latvia. The young woman spoke excellent English with an American accent. She actually sounded like an American teenager. When I asked her where she learned English, she said school and watching American TV. July 10th. We're still in Latvia until 4 o'clock p.m. and then off for Estonia. The option we chose for this morning was a train ride to one of the most popular vacation beach towns in the Baltic, Jamala, Latvia. It's the most expensive place to own a home in Latvia. The most common choice of building material in Latvia is wood, followed by brick. This expensive home, probably a couple of $1,000,000, demonstrates some of the beautiful wood construction in the beach area. After we disembarked from the train, our group leader, Margarita, gave us some highlights about the town, some instructions to interesting locations, and sent us off to explore Jamala on our own. Jamala has lots of restaurants, eclectic architecture, and miles of sandy beaches. I'm exhausted, so back to our ship, the Clio. I took this photo from the middle of the bridge crossing the Daugava River here in Riga. Our little cruise ship, the Clio, is between two large ones. We have 89 passengers and 58 crew members. I don't know about the other two ships, but I would guess each one has thousands on board. We don't have a swimming pool. We feel the rough sea a little more, but we love it. We break up into groups of 20 or less for land tours. Now off to Estonia. This morning we visited one of the most popular attractions in Tallinn, Estonia, Old Town, the best preserved medieval city in northern Europe. Interesting buildings. The market square was packed full of small booths with eating places around the perimeter. We might have enjoyed our visit more if there hadn't been so many people. Some cruise ships had arrived the previous night and brought thousands. We were told that there'd be fewer people in the afternoon after the cruise ships left, so we may go back after lunch. Estonia is the most non-religious country in Europe with only 14% Christians. Many practice the old earth religion of honoring nature. So we learned how to hug a tree. The parks and forests in Tallinn are beautiful and really show how much Estonians love the countryside. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia have very similar histories. One of the similarities is the occupations. They were occupied by the Danes, the Swedes, Germans, and Russians over the last several hundred years. The last occupation by the Soviet Union from 1946 through 1990 drew a most unusual and dramatic revolution called the Singing Revolution, which bonded thousands of people together in rallies holding hands and singing songs of hope, patriotism, and protest. At one point, a human chain of 2 million citizens holding hands was formed, reaching from Tallinn, Estonia, to Vilnius, Lithuania, called the Baltic Way. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1990 ended this occupation. Now these countries hold singing festivals in remembrance of the revolution, attracting tens of thousands of singers. End of part 1.